Good evening and welcome to the Coffeyville City Commission meeting for Tuesday, October 24th. Tonight's invocation will be led by Margie Miller of Crossroads Community of Christ. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity of gathering together and listening while these good men conduct the business of our community. We ask that your Holy Spirit may rest upon each of them, that the decisions they make will be for the best for the whole community. And we ask a blessing on each one of them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Consent agenda, City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, October 10th, 2017, and 2017 appropriation ordinance number AO-17-20 in the amount of $5,620,318.40. Any questions or amendments to this first two items on the consent agenda?
No questions. I'd make a motion to approve ordinance as read.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Taylor and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. 2017 appropriation ordinance number AO-17-20A, Taylor Crane, in the amount of $179.15. Any questions or comments regarding this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve appropriation ordinance number AO-17-20A for adoption. Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Abstain.
Under public hearings, special presentation and proclamation, tonight we have a proclamation to declare Saturday, November 4th as Buddy Poppy Day. There's no one here.
I don't see anybody here.
Okay.
We
I-
will mail that to them.
I signed it, so
Okay, thank
we're
you.
good to go. Moving on to new business, the discussion on building located at 600 Union. Representatives from Montgomery County will be present to discuss the building, formerly the Community Health Center.
Fred,
You're up.
Brown, come on
Come
up,
on up,
Fred.
sir.
Your turn, Fred.
Let's see. What I'm here about is the county health department. We have a need for a larger building, and we have expanded. And Carolyn Muller, let me introduce Charlotte, our county clerk, Charlotte Scott Smith, Scott Barnhart, is our environmental, and he takes care of what we need to do to the building to get it ready so we can use it. And that's what we're faced with where we are, plus our expansion of our needs. And then also Carolyn's here and she can explain or address some of that as well. But basically we're interested in this building, but we're also interested in leaving senior services here and let it just continue on as it is. I visited somewhat with Kendall Francis previously. He's indicated that they might be willing to work out something, putting a separate meter so we can meter the electric that's used in the senior services from what we're using in the rest of the building. Basically, we would like to purchase the building with an offer of $30,000 for the building. We're going to have to do quite a bit of work on. Scott, you want to address what we have to do? And it's easier because you're involved with very much that where we are now, what we're going to have to do to the other building.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
What really started inspiring this is we have some ADA issues with the existing building that we're using for county health. Those issues range from restroom facilities, but our biggest challenge is accessibility into the building. This includes the Coffeyville's city sidewalk and parking there. All of those were found in a survey in 2013 to be non-compliant. So that inspired us to start seeking another facility rather than spend money on a building that right now is too small for us. So at that point, I believe Fred started doing some groundwork and looking for a building, and this building over here seems to fit those needs. There is some ADA issues there, but we could overcome them a lot easier than what we can do with what we have there, so.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So what are you, the maintenance guy? What do you do, Scott?
I'm the ADA coordinator for the county. I
Oh.
also serve as the environmental health director and.
For the
and
county?
zoning and-
For the
yeah,
county.
just kind of, yes.
Oh, you're, okay, I see.
Thank you.
I got you.
Carolyn, you want to come up and explain briefly what the additional WISC and that type of thing that you're talking about, and what you do? Carolyn's in charge of our county health department.
Okay.
It's what they, kind of give them an idea of what you're doing. They employ 10 people, and we're wanting, of course, to keep the 10 people here in Coffeyville, and that's part of it. But she also has expanded their needs, what they need, and why we need more space.
Yes, that's basically, we need to have more space. We have taken on some different programs that, we have a lot of people that come through our health department now. So that's what we're looking at is space, as well as the ADA compliance.
And you're talking about how, the number, tell them the number of people that we're talking about in addition to the 500 people.
Yeah, we've started some programs that we have approximate 500 people in this area in Coffeyville that is part of one of our programs that we have that comes through our facility over a couple-month period. So we're actually needing more space. We're kind of at capacity where we're at.
So how many people do you serve now? We don't know that much about your business.
Well, we do a lot of different programs, and to give you a number, I really can't. I don't know, but we have a lot of different programs. We do immunizations, we do physicals, we have the WIC program, which is Women, Infant, and Children. That is one of our bigger programs that we have. That in Coffeyville, we have at least 500 plus people with just that program.
Okay.
So how long you been running it? You manage it, correct, Carolyn?
I do. I've been in this position about 6 years, but I've been with the health department for 27.
Okay, so you're down here in downtown Coffeyville
Yes.
now.
Yes.
And they've
We're
got
at
10
908
people.
South Walnut.
Huh?
We're at 908 South
Yeah.
Walnut.
I call it the old Weinberg's building. If that,
It's right next to it.
next
It's
to it.
where
Okay,
the
that's right on the
shoe
north
store
side.
used to be.
Okay, that's right. And you've got 10 people in there?
Yeah, we actually have 9 people. We have one person that is in our independence office, and then we have a nurse that floats back and forth.
I see. How many square feet is that compared to this one, I wonder? That side over there, I mean, I just was curious.
Well, we've got
That's the question I was gonna
basically
ask you.
8,000 feet here, and over there we have around, probably 4,500, something.
Yes,
Almost
I think
double.
so.
8,000 over on this side,
Yeah, there's 8,000 is what we're looking at. We're
on
not
that side,
including this yet.
not including this?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Carolyn.
So
Yes,
Fred,
thank you.
So Fred, when would you take over the building if you get
Well,
it?
we'd have to work that out with you all, what our needs are.
Right.
You know, we'd have to work with you on it, when your needs, as long as you're still having meetings here and doing that. We're not gonna take over this part of it. We're not interested in moving the senior services or doing anything like
Okay.
that.
How is that, educate us here. How
I'll
is that,
try.
how is that, that's a nonprofit deal, how's that, so the public will know and we'll know? Is that, it's a government deal, what, tell us about the county health.
I'll let Carolyn tell us about.
We want to know more. We brought you up here, Carolyn, or I assume we brought you. Somehow we got you here, and we want to know more. We want a sponge. We want to know what's going on. This was discussed a week ago. We don't know, I don't, maybe these guys know, maybe I'm the ignorant one, I don't know, but I'd like to know more about the county health department, what's going on here. You guys, are obviously, you know, you want the building, we want you to have the building, we're just trying to figure all this out.
Well,
So we wanna know more.
We actually get our funding through some tax revenue, and then we have grants. We have several grants that we have. One of them is the Women, Infant, and Children. We have a child health immunization grant. We have a preparedness grant. So we get some of our funding through grants.
Okay, who operates the program? Who operates? Is it government, has the state, or, you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Okay.
Who does the funding for
No,
for these programs?
The state,
The state operates.
the state and federal would be
Okay.
how we get some of our money, yes,
Most of
And
the
then-
money comes from state and federal.
yes. Through our grants
But
that we
is it the
get.
county? It's a county organization? And every county's got one?
Most every
About.
county does, yeah, in Kansas has one, yes, a county health department.
Paul, can you add to this?
Not
Question?
really.
Okay, that's fine.
It is a county health department. I think what she's saying is some of the funding sources are the state, federal government, and property taxes, the general fund.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm learning.
We do lots of programs with the health department. I mean, like I said, we do the Women, Infant, and Children program, we do immunizations, we do physicals. We do disease investigation, and that's just some of them that we do. Child care surveys.
A lot of stuff I wouldn't want anything to do with.
Basically, what's the county's offer?
30,000.
30,000?
$30,000, yeah.
Okay, well, what next?
Are you willing to, are you,
We don't have anything down for action.
There's no action on this
tonight.
meeting, right?
If there's a
I-
consensus that you want that on the agenda for the next meeting, we would have Paul prepare a contract.
Well, my only thinking, and I'm not real smart, okay, when it comes to government and all this stuff, I wish I had a little more up here on it. I told Fred outside, sitting in my car, we talked for about 15 seconds. And I said, well, this facility's worth, 300,000, whatever, nice facility. Is it common for the city to, it's almost a donation at 30,000. I want them to have it. You
It
want
is.
them to have it, we want them to have it, they want them to have it. But is that,
It is. I agree with what you're saying, but I think, as we discussed in the last meeting, there's also 10 jobs that go away
right.
if this leaves Coffeyville.
Right, well, I understand
So-
that.
So that's the big picture.
The
We don't
question
wanna-
is, do we do that? And,
and the alternative is that you move the whole thing to Independence.
Right.
And then there's
Right.
500 people that are Coffeyville citizens that have to drive to Independence to get their services.
okay, I understand all that.
Yep.
I got that. The question is, the facility's worth this, they're getting it for, is that right? I thought, that's my only question I got on this whole thing. Is that what you do? Is that what you do
The
in this
building
situation?
has been for sale for several months, and there has not been any
Right.
interest in it.
Right, I'd heard that too, I don't know where all the money comes from, and it's about money. The federal government, the state government, the county government, the city government, and, and we're here to represent the citizens, and what's the best place, how do you do that? That's my only question.
I
I
agree.
don't have the answer, I just,
But I think,
I agree.
I think that Mr. Brown is also representing the very same citizens that you're
right, I
representing.
agree,
Yep.
I agree, I agree.
The thing is that you're simply taking a piece of property that belongs to the government and essentially selling it to the government.
Right.
It's not, and another thing too, is that, in my opinion, I agree perhaps to a certain extent that we should sell the building. However, basically, you're selling the building to yourself because, because
In essence.
I mean, you're selling the building to yourself. You're, the
Guys,
money.
I got all that. I got it
Well,
all.
okay, but I'm.
Yeah, I understand, I'm with you, we talked about that last time. Focus in on it, is it 30,000, is that the right deal to do?
Yeah.
What do you think from our city lawyer?
I don't think that it
Paul?
really matters what the city,
Well, I'd like
No
to know what he
disrespect to
says.
Paul,
I mean,
but
he
it
said
doesn't
we
matter
pay him,
what
I like
Paul
to know. You don't wanna know, but I wanna know.
okay.
Okay, and I wouldn't mind, I reach out to people when you don't know, there's no such thing as a dumb question sometimes. I don't think it's a dumb question.
Well, to
You know,
me,
we're trying to figure this thing out.
it is a business judgment. It's not a legal judgment. I guess, speaking as a citizen, and as I said last meeting, it's important, I think, to me as a citizen, that we retain the health department here in Coffeyville. So I think you accomplish a lot of good things by the transaction. You keep it here, you keep the 10 employees here, you have 500 people that come through on a monthly or every other month type of basis that has some sort of an economic impact on the city. And as Cindy mentioned, the building's been on the market for several months and there really hasn't been any interest in it, any viable candidates. That building has historically been used for government type purposes. The SRS facility used to be there, and then the community health center was there, and now we're talking about the health department. So to me, it's kind of a natural fit, but I'm speaking to you as a citizen, not as a lawyer.
well,
If the county owns it versus the city, you're spreading those tax dollars over a broader base also than with just city tax dollars.
So there'll be property tax on it?
It probably would continue to be exempt from property
Right, right.
taxes.
It's
Right.
the mill levy to run it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how old this building is, but there's maintenance issues too, and you lose those maintenance issues by
Right.
selling it to the county. It'd be their obligation. The larger tax base will take care of the maintenance of the facility than just the city. So that's an impact. And the other impact to me is, you look around Coffeyville, and there are a lot of empty buildings. This just seems like a good opportunity to fill one of those, to me.
I agree with what everybody's saying. I'm not negative toward it, I don't wanna hear something from a group or citizens later that we didn't represent them, right? You got that?
Right.
So I'm good with it, I'm good with it, I just trying to get all the issues on the table
I'm
now.
listening.
We talked last week, now we talked this week, and I'm glad you guys are here so we could get to the bottom of it and get it done.
Thank you, we appreciate your help.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it put on the agenda for the next
Yeah,
meeting.
but from a business standpoint, I think this makes it doesn't matter the price. From a business standpoint, it makes perfectly good sense to do, and, even if it goes 30,000, it is what it is. But it's gonna go back to help, it's gonna benefit everybody, it's gonna be there for a while, it's not going anywhere, the county health department's not going anywhere. So, I think it needs to be on the agenda and just go with it from there.
Charlie, did you have something you'd like to say?
Well, I've got one question is, I'm Charles Weed, 207 West New. Okay, you're moving from over the old shoe store here. What's gonna happen to the old building?
We'll have to put it up for sale and see what happens.
I'm sure someone will want it.
It's not,
Well, that's a good question, Charlie.
It is.
Perhaps, make that part of the deal.
Yeah.
That'll get you completely out from under feet for you and give the city a chance to get that
Would
back
the-
into the
would the
revenue
city want
stream.
it?
Good point.
That's a great question, Charlie, thank you.
sure, we'd be interested in that.
Okay, well, we can look at that.
We-
We don't want it?
No.
Not unless you know.
Is that something the city could use itself?
Well, it's a consideration
Well, I don't
worthy
care
of looking
I don't
at.
know who's gonna buy
You
it.
can talk to the city manager and put him on it
Sure.
and think about it, so. We can talk about that later. Thank you,
I'm sure
Fred.
someone will want that.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, appreciate it.
We won't need him here to be on the next agenda. Do we need this
No.
crew here?
What do you think? Should they be here?
I don't think so.
I think we can answer most of our own questions.
Together in contract.
If you haven't got anything better to do, you can be here, but Doesn't seem like you need to be
I
here.
don't think it's necessary.
If we need you here, someone will reach out to you.
Just let me know, I'll be here.
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah, thank you,
All right,
Fred.
Thank you for your time.
Moving on to resolution number R-17-83, a resolution to execute a change order number 2 with Andale Construction for the airport taxiway overlay project. Public Work Director Chuck Shively will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners, this agenda item is for change order number 2 to the airport taxiway project. It's for removal and replacement of unsuitable subgrade material at 3 different locations on the project and repair of 100 linear feet of edge drain. It results in a total cost increase of $13,900.70, but this project is funded 90% by the FAA, so the city's share of the increase will be approximately $1,390. The previously approved change order number 1 on this project was a decrease of $10,920. So the 2 change orders combined so far on this project result in an overall increased cost to the city of approximately $300. So I recommend approval of this change order.
Was it just something was it oversight or just caught something after we
It's-
started the project?
You can't always know what you're gonna
Right.
find under the subgrade, and when they went in, ripped it out, it was soupy and
Yep.
it needed to be fixed right, not just put new asphalt over bad subgrade.
Any other questions?
No questions.
We'll make a motion to approve resolution number R-17-83.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve resolution number R-17-83 for adoption. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chuck.
Action to set a public hearing for Tuesday, December 12th, 6:30 PM in regards to the issuance of a taxable industry revenue bond for Ray News Industries. MAC Executive Director Tricia Purdon will make comments.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm excited to bring our newest industry to Coffeyville, to our City Commission meeting for you all to get to know them a bit. Renews Industries of Milner, Georgia, will expand their operations to the Coffeyville Industrial Park, bringing 30 new jobs to our community. This is a company that Montgomery County Action Council, as well as several industries in this region, has been trying to recruit to our area for quite some time to improve the operations of several different industries here. We have been in desperate need of a good paint company that can be reliable and can meet the certifications that many of our nationally and internationally known corporations require. Renews, they are an industrial coatings and precision metal fabrication company. They were established in Georgia in 1981. They have more than 30 years' experience painting all manner of parts, vehicles, commercial equipment, and machinery. They operate state-of-the-art monorail plant lines, which I believe from the pictures that Lester Renew showed me today are custom-made and designed by the CEO himself. The company uses large batch paint booths and ovens, and uses liquid, powder, and soon-to-be waterborne coatings. They operate in a state-of-the-art light and medium fabrication facility, concentrating its production on top-quality metal enclosures, canopies, containers for power generators, transformer housing, loose parts, seed boxes used in agricultural production. Specifically, locally, they'll be contracting with John Deere. They were critical to discovering the skill set of Renews and convincing them to move to our community. They have spoken with several different industries in this area and are facilitating contracts with those as well. We really anticipate, although the 30 jobs that is being created by the company themselves, we expect companies in our area to add jobs or even improve their profit margins to help their companies grow, which would in turn hopefully add jobs. So the indirect impact we won't realize for a little while, but it's pretty amazing that a company like this, that we've been recruiting for so long, finally came to Coffeyville. So with that, I'll leave it at that unless you have more questions about specifically what they are. But I would like to introduce the CEO and his team here in town. And we have Lester Renew, Bryant Beeland, and Robbie Bailey. If you guys want to come up and meet them, you can. If not, you can stay back there. They don't like to they warned me that they do not want to have public speaking engagements, and I promised them I would try to keep it to a minimum and speak on their behalf as much as possible. Hence why we had the smallest groundbreaking ceremony in the history of groundbreaking ceremonies. Everyone was holding a shovel, and there were 2 people who were watching us hold shovels. So that was pretty much how the groundbreaking ceremony
Was
went
that
today.
today?
I was gonna say,
Yes, yeah, it was today.
Okay.
see, I think that
One of the
conversation.
members of Tyson, of Taylor Crane was present, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that conversation took place before the groundbreaking.
Yeah, like, we had a quick conversation, and they said, please keep this small, and
We'd just like to thank you guys for coming to Coffeyville.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
so we are
These-
just over the moon excited about this, so.
Well, you know, all towns talk about these are the nice sized companies to, you know, don't market the big ones. I mean, you can market a big one, but these little ones add up, and that's what we like, and we're glad you guys are here. So, anxious to get out there and see you. I wasn't in town today, but anyway. So the groundbreaking is, you guys gonna add on, or what's the, I know you're putting in paint lines and digging up pits and all that.
Well, the plan is the building itself right now is going to be improved. So they'll put in some pits, and they'll put in their ovens, and they'll put in the conveyor system, the monorail conveyor
Right.
system like we described in their company press release. But, you know, long-term expansion is definitely a possibility, especially if they start to get into some different coating opportunities. So those discussions will happen as they get to know other businesses and find out what their uses are in this region. There's a lot of industries in this area that use paint to coat their products, and I'm sure that just the few that they've contacted will not be the end of their negotiations that they're going to be doing. As for reason why on the agenda, what we're doing today is part of the incentive to bring them here is to do an industrial revenue bond. It helps them finance the project, the purchase of the building, any new equipment, the conveyor systems, building the pits, all the construction work that goes along with that. What that industrial revenue bond does is basically it lends the city's tax exempt status to the business. There's no obligation on the city on the debt of any kind. But it does allow the company up to a 10-year property tax abatement. Now, that does exclude 8 mills for this, up to 8 mills for the school district's capital improvement mill levy. So the school district is cushioned a bit for any industrial revenue bonds and tax abatements. It also gives the company a sales tax exemption on their labor, materials, supplies that they might buy in the construction phase of their property. So altogether, it provides a very large cash incentive to the company without it actually coming out of our budget, our annual budget. So other than the exemption itself, I suppose, on the current property value of the Darwin building in the Coffeyville Industrial Park. So we are setting the date for December 12th to have that public hearing. We have Springstead, who's compiling the cost-benefit analysis as required by state statute. So they should have that to us shortly, so we'll have time to review that and put together a staff report with Kendall and staff at the city before we present that on December 12th. And that'll be the next time Renews will definitely be here in town. We could narrow it down since they do have their main corporate offices in Georgia. We wanted to reduce the impact as they have a lot of back and forth as they're opening the plant. So in between now and then, we'll be organizing hopefully some job fairs. They want to be operational by the end of January, ideally. So this will move pretty fast. Once we get that IRB going, if the commission approves that, we'll be able to really help them get moving pretty fast.
So what type of workers are they looking for?
So it's paint workers, and you guys can speak to that if you'd like to come up. Huh? Do what? I'm doing good? Okay. But paint workers, so different lines, but they definitely need a plant supervisor. someone to really help lead the team here locally that they can trust to run the plant on this end, since they're going to be based out of Georgia. So they need someone strong and reliable that they know can run the plant here in town. And that's the first priority.
Can you release kind of what the salary is going to be, or is that?
At this point, I probably shouldn't talk about that publicly without further discussions on what the ranges need to be. We have worked, Mac and my staff has worked to put together some cost comparisons, similar job categories in this region, so that we're within the region pay range. That they're, we want to make sure that they meet the county median income range, so that they're eligible for the state incentives that they've applied for also. So,
Good,
and I don't think that's going to be a problem
Yeah.
either with this company. So,
good. Any other questions from the commission?
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yes, thank you.
thank you very much.
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing for Tuesday, December 12th at 6:30 for the issuance of the taxable industry revenue bond for Rain News Industries.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Castler to set a public hearing for Tuesday, December 12th, 6:30 p.m. for the issuance of taxable industrial revenue bonds for News Industries. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Castler.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
And guys, we're gonna forego our normal rule that you have to stay around for the rest of the meeting.
This time we'll have the city manager's report.
City manager's gone.
Are you not filling in for him? You're not going to give us?
I have a
give us-
couple of things I can do now or do under the staff meeting,
It's
or
up to you.
staff report.
Either one. We'll just do it in our staff report.
Okay.
At this time, this is open for comments from the public. The public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes. Hello, Mary.
Farmers Market is still in existence. We don't have very many people right now. The weather hasn't really helped them all that much, but they do have some good food out there. It's discouraging to sit and sit and sit some more and nobody come by. I picked up sweet potatoes today. They're coming in, and there's tomatoes. There's green peppers, green tomatoes, squash. Tomatoes are setting on, and they're saying there's a bad freeze coming about Friday, and they're saying, I'm going to pick my tomatoes before then because they will ripen later.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't been out to Farmers Market, come out and at least say hi to them. There's eggs, and I know of 3 of my people that will be there Saturday morning. So, and I expect even some baked goods, so come see us.
And where is that again?
Saturday.
Where is it?
It's at Walter Johnson Park, right across from the rec center.
Okay.
And it starts at 7 o'clock Saturday morning and runs until 11.
7 to 11. Okay,
7 to 11.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And if you're lucky, you might even pick up a pecan or 2 under that pecan grove that's there. They're
Yeah.
falling.
Oh, wow.
See you there.
See ya.
Anyone else? Okay, at this time, we'll open it for comments from the commissioners and staff.
Stephanie has,
Oh. Yes.
has something also.
Mayor and Commissioners, at your table, you will find a copy of our city treasurer's report that is published in the Coffeyville Journal every quarter. I have added a couple columns to this just to give you kind of an update on where we are on our fiscal 2017 budget. If you'll look, the first column gives you our fund number, and then there's a description of which fund it is that we're looking at. There's a beginning balance as of January 1. Then it gives you the 2017 revenue through September 30th. Then it lists the expenditures and then the ending fund balance. After that, the 2 columns that were added is our 2017 budget. That's the approved budget that we did last year. And then the percent of budget, that's the percent of the expenditures that we've had of our budget so far. So for this report, we're 75% through the year. So if you kind of go down through those percentages and take a look at where we are, it kind of gives you an idea of where each fund is falling this year. There are a couple that kind of come to your attention, the library being one of those. You'll see it's at 91%. Most of the tax revenues that we levy for the library come in earlier in the year. We'll have a small payment to them in November, so that's why you'll see that theirs is higher. And then you'll also see the Economic Development Fund shows that it is over what our approved budget was, and this is one that we'll be bringing back to you for budget amendments. And we talked about this summer when we did the budget, the need for a budget amendment within this fund, and that's related to the Acme Foundry project that's going on with the street construction. The rest of those, pretty much, the airport fund, that's related to transfers that we're making for the airport project that Chuck spoke about earlier this evening. And some of the others is just, you'll see debt service funds. Those kind of are dependent upon when the principal is due on those bonds as to how much of the expenditures we've gone through already. Like I said, this is a report that we're going to start doing for the commission at the end of each quarter. It'll be the month after the quarter ends, so that you have an idea of where the funds sit and kind of where we're at, so you're a little more aware of where the financial position of the city.
Is this something new?
The treasurer's report gets published every quarter, and
Okay.
that's a state statute that be done. So
So
this is
just giving it to us is something kind of new?
giving it to you and adding those columns, comparing it to the
Yeah,
budget, so you
okay.
can kind of have a little better idea of where we're falling.
That's
We will
great.
be coming back in December for budget amendments for year end, and we'll kind of take a look of where we fall out for the end of the year, so.
What? That was your idea?
Well, for us to have, yes.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Mayor Paul. I didn't know, I hadn't heard that. Okay, good. It's nice. It's, you know,
You can see where
bunch of
we're at.
numbers. It kind of
Yes.
Well,
it
shows
is.
you that you're busy.
You can tell where you're at for your percentage of the year
Right.
too, so.
Right. So 75% would be at the end of the third quarter, correct?
Right.
So when you're, above it, what do you do? I mean,
It kind of depends on where you're at,
Yeah.
which fund it is. Like I said, some of them are dependent upon how the expenditures fall throughout the year. If you'll look at like the Business Development Training
Right,
Center, we
99.
budget insurance, and that's already been paid, so we're at 99% of our budget.
I see.
We're not gonna have any other expenditures for
Right.
that, so it's just kind of dependent.
Okay. Well, with
We
all
have
that-
the department heads take a look at their financials each month, so they have access to those on our network, so they can keep an idea of where they're at each month, so.
Okay. Well, with all that said, is there anything that's worthy of discussion now, or?
Nothing that I
While you're
haven't
here.
really already pointed out, comes to my attention, so.
Okay, good.
Like I said, there are some that we talked about this summer that we already anticipate we're gonna need budget amendments for, and I'll be coming to you in December for those.
Okay,
But everything looks pretty good.
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 If you have any questions,
I don't have any questions.
or have questions later, just let me know and I can get you the information.
Thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome.
Cindy, you wanna?
Mayor and Commissioners, one is just a reminder that the Veterans Day celebration is November the 11th. And I know that John Hufford has invited each of you to participate in the parade. If you've not let Kendall know, you can either let him know or let me know, and we'll get that information to John. There will be an event out at the Restlawn Cemetery at the Court of Valor at 10, and the parade starts at 1 o'clock. And then the activities will be focused down around this area in the Boys and Girls Club. As we're planning out our meetings for the rest of this year, the second meeting in December would be Tuesday, the 26th, December the 26th. And wanted you to consider moving that meeting to the Thursday prior. That way, we're not meeting Christmas week if people are out of town.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do.
So
Yep.
will that work with
Yep,
all
that
of
work for
you
everyone.
if we have the meeting on December 21st? And
Yep.
and we also have to be aware of that for getting our appropriations in earlier, and so we just needed to know.
Sounds logical.
Yep.
Okay. We
Lot
will
of
make
things
that
going on
change
during
then for that meeting to be Thursday, December the 21st.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on during that time, so I
Okay.
think it'd be good for everyone.
That's all that I have.
Anything from the commission?
No, no,
I have something, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Last week we talked about rental standards, and I thought that we were gonna set up a meeting. I'm not pushing any blame on anybody here. I don't know what happened, if there's a miscommunication. I don't think there was. I thought we were all for that, right?
yeah.
Yep.
There was some discussion about waiting until we get our next commission in, so.
Maybe that's where the
Yeah, I
miscommunication
mean,
came.
it's not really a miscommunication, it was just, I made the comment that this is kind of a long-term thing, and I'm all for it, digging into it. And we just never did really set a date, and then Kendall got us an email this week looking for direction. I believe I saw something in email recently.
It was, yeah, in his Friday report.
Right, and so it's somewhat moving forward, but I think it's one of these longer-term projects that I think can wait till we get our next commission. If you guys want to, if not, we can get started. I'm ready for a meeting, if you're ready for a meeting, but I think there's some preliminary work, dig in, see what other cities are doing,
I think we
see
can
what
get
we're doing. James Faulkner brought up the comment that we need to look at, I think it was Article 8, if I remember right.
I think that's correct.
So, have you looked at Article 8, Marcus?
No.
Well, we might ought to look at Article 8, like, James said, I'm
In
sure.
the
I haven't
code
either,
of-
okay, so.
In the code of ordinances.
Right.
Yes.
So we could all be looking at that, but to me, when does the new commission take seat? What date?
That will be in January.
In January,
Which one?
the new commission?
Second meeting or first?
I think it will be the 9th, January 9th, this first meeting in January.
I mean, I think we need to look at that Article 8, we need to look, see what other cities do. I'm okay for another meeting, if we wanna have a work session or something. I think it'd be great,
I think we can at least start the conversation around a work session.
yeah.
Chris,
And-
how do you feel?
Who?
Chris?
Oh,
My
So
opinion-
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm hearing 3, we just need to
right,
know
we
how
need to
you
see.
want to move forward.
My opinion is that, according to my understanding, this has already been addressed by the Planning and Zoning Commission. They came up with a document, and basically it was to the point to where it was just about ready to go to the commission for,
It went to the commission.
okay,
Oh, I did?
number
I
one,
didn't know.
we need to, I think that we should have a work session where we can all get together and look at this document. Because the thing is from what I understand, the work's already been done. It's
Okay.
already, it's there, it's done.
Maybe we could meet with some of the zoning people, like Max Williams or somebody, whoever's the head, or
That would be,
maybe they could be there to kind of shed
When's our
light.
next meeting?
There's been many changes on the planning commission since
I-
that time.
Number one, I just think that we should have a work session to where we can all sit down together as a commission and look at this document. Because the thing is you can send the document to me, and you can send it to you, but if we're not together to discuss this
Right.
document, basically, we're all just sitting at the house looking at the same
Right.
document. We can't communicate
Right.
amongst us to try to work out the finer points of this. And the thing is it sounds like, fortunately for us, the hard work's already been done, folks. They did it.
Right,
Right.
Our predecessors,
They've did it or they've done it?
well, either way, they did it and done it. They-
Okay,
They,
I'm with you, we got a document to look at, I need to look at that document you're talking about, or we've talked about.
we need to get together and talk about it.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I think we need to have a work session.
You want to have a work session. Do you want to have that prior to the new commission getting seated?
Yes.
Or
We
in
we
the
can,
next 2 weeks? When give me a time
When's
period
their
to
next meeting?
relay to Kendall.
3 weeks.
Let's do it in 3 weeks.
And they're planning.
Okay,
zoning-
3 weeks will be our, next commission meeting.
Right.
We need to
3
do it-
weeks is the next.
We
commission
have,
meeting, is
we
what I
have
was saying.
3
Oh,
weeks in
sorry.
between, yeah.
I
And
misunderstood.
then when's the next planning and zoning? Isn't there like a-
They would be scheduled to have a meeting, November the 7th. However, they don't have any cases, so there will not be a meeting.
That's election night.
And that's election night,
So
which
can-
this will be a voting place.
Can we try to get a consensus to have a meeting in between the November, in other words, between the first and second meeting in November?
And that would be Thanksgiving week,
Then
if that matters.
what Thanksgiving's on a Thursday?
Thanksgiving's on a Thursday. The 21st would be the Tuesday of Thanksgiving
Can
week.
we
I'm
meet
good with
that
that.
night? You guys
I'm good with that.
What is it?
The
Okay.
21st of November?
Should be fine.
And
I'm
it's-
fine
So
with that.
a work session,
Right, work session, the 21st of November. And we don't necessarily have to have a full-blown entire staff there. We just need to have the
we
folks
can have
that-
it in our conference room.
Right, the folks there that's,
Do you want to start earlier than 6:30?
I'd prefer to start at 6.
Yeah, let's.
I think
6
we-
o'clock.
6, can everybody come
Maybe
at
6
6?
o'clock?
I can
Yes,
get off, yeah.
Okay.
6 on
November
21st.
21st, 6 PM, work session on rental standards. We will get you the information that had been previously looked at.
Good.
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
that's,
Then is that that's not open to the public, is it?
Yes, it is.
Everything's open to the
Okay.
public when you're in a meeting.
Okay,
yes.
Anna Marie, you're welcome to be there. You might as well be there, huh?
We put out a notice anytime commissioners are together.
And any other candidates? I'm not just picking on you, Anna Marie. Okay, so is that, that's publicized somewhat?
That's what we needed to know.
okay.
I know, but it'll be published, if someone wants to come, they'll be able to be there, like Peggy Steele or whoever.
We are required to put a notice out, yes.
Okay,
Now, whether the people see it,
right.
that's
Now,
another
where is
thing,
that,
but
where is that put?
we send
Educate-
it out to the media and we put it on our website.
Okay, I thought something
On
like that.
Facebook.
Okay,
Right,
and
social media.
Facebook too?
I think social media also.
Okay,
And it will go out as a report from this meeting also
Okay.
when I update
oh,
the
that's
Facebook
good,
page.
okay. I'm finally learning how things work around here.
Anything else?
All right, if we're done with the business, I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to acknowledge the passing of former Mayor Virgil Horn. And all you guys are elected officials, and I don't want to speak for you, but I'd just like to take the time, and if you don't mind, I will speak for you.
Yes.
That's fine.
If, as members of the city commission, and on behalf of the city of Coffeyville, I'd like to send our condolences to Mr. Horn's family. Virgil Horn, Reverend Horn, Dr. Horn,
Mayor
Horn, Commissioner Horn. He served a lot of roles, and he wore a lot of hats. And I know he was special to a lot of folks. I didn't have the pleasure of serving on the commission with Mayor Horn. However, I met him through our travels, and our paths crossed in many instances. And he was a good servant to the people of Coffeyville, as well as just humans in general. So I want to acknowledge that on behalf of the city of Coffeyville and send our condolences to his family. God bless you, Mayor Horn.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you. Nothing else from the commission this time?
Well said.
At this time, we'll move to recess to executive session to discuss an employee's performance evaluation pursuant to a non-elected personnel matter exception to reconvene at the commission room. You think we can do this 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Let's go 7:35. We'll
Aye. Second,
Okay,
and aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Where's